Hello guys, welcome back to Esentaxa. Here, and in this video we are going to discuss about a new service that we are going to launch in 2025, which is called unlimited tax planning for people who needs to implement the business, or entrepreneur or CEO or businesses who needs to implement their tax project, their tax relocation, let's call it like this, in a new jurisdiction. And basically we want to solve a big problem here. We need to solve the problem that once we discuss tax planning, this tax planning that has been discussed on paper must be implemented for real. And there is a gap here because a lot of clients are getting lost after having spent some money on tax consultancy with us or with other tax consultant, tax advisor, and then they just move by themselves, hoping that their implementation will work smoothly. The reality is different. The reality is that when you move in a new country, there is a new mentality, a new way to work, and all the people you need to contact to, for example, you need to contact a notary, you need to contact a bank employee, you need to contact an accountant, a local accountant, etc., etc. All those actors, all those people, they are mandatory to contact because they must implement the idea, the tax planning. They are not aware of certain procedures that has been discussed with your tax advisor. They are pretty slow. Sometimes they are not familiar with certain procedure. And trust me, this is one of the most common issues, not familiar with certain procedures. So they are wasting a lot of time doing so because you're not able to explain them in the way your tax advisor explained the structure in the first place. And this is a classical. For example, the classical issue is that when you move to a country and then you realize that you cannot open a bank account if you don't own the local ID card, while theoretically in the law it's possible, but practically there are some obstacles that might prevent you to implement in a very short period of time or in the mandatory period of time your implementation discussed in the first place. So what we want to resolve here in Esentaxa is exactly this problem. So once we discuss the tax planning for your business, we need to also implement this tax planning for real. So we have to follow up the procedure of the implementation up to the end, up to the moment in which everything has been implemented and done. Okay? For example, we need to create a corporate a company which pays a corporate tax of a certain percentage, and we need to fulfill certain criteria. For example, you want to move to Belgium, or you want to simply establish a business in Belgium. You, as an individual, you're still abroad. You want to open a business in Belgium and you want to pay 20% corporate tax rather than 25%. How do you do that? There is a specific procedure. You have to be a startup up to 4 years, then you have to switch in an ordinary company and pay yourself an administrator payroll of a certain amount, and then this has to be taxed in a certain way, etc., etc. All these elements must be implemented. All this information must be sent to the local accountant in the right time and the right moment, based on the expiration dates and based on the way we have discussed it. Because if you fulfill all the criteria and requirements on time, you will be able to then implement correctly what we have discussed. And through this process, there are also a lot of information that the state needs to know. Some submission of files, some mandatory disclosing of information to the state, etc., etc. Let me be more practical. In Italy exists a new tax regime, for example, which is called CBT. In English, there is not really a translation in English, but it's an agreed between the state and the business that pays just the agreement means that you have to pay a certain amount of taxes considering a previewed income. Okay, let's imagine like this. Let's put it in this way for the simplicity, for the sake of this video. But if you want to implement this tax regime, which potentially could allow you to pay 3% taxes, and you can make million pay only 3% taxes, I'm not joking, this is what the potential of this tax regime, but in order to implement it, you have to follow a very strict criteria and you have to be aware of all the tax regulation, tax clarifications, and you have to follow all of them. Okay, you have to make sure that you're not make any mistakes in order to be seeing your tax regime revoked. And if you are basically trust the wrong accountant will be extremely dangerous, because then you have to give back all taxes, fine and interest. So this is a classical example of gap between what has been discussed with your tax advisor and what you really need to do to implement that specific tax regime. It's not just about respecting deadlines or doing certain things on accounting point of view, but mostly it's important to understand what kind of documentation you need to archive, what kind of documents you need to have, and when all this information needs to be done at the right time. So the unlimited service, the unlimited tax planning service here in Esentaxa works in this way. We help you, we follow up, we consult you, and we follow up to the realization of the project, of the tax project, up to the end, with no time limit. You can call us as much as you want, of course in our working time, but as much as you want, as many video calls you want or email you want. We follow up, we contact the right person, we talk to the right persons, we can basically provide you our partners, or you can provide your accountant, we talk to him in order to explain exactly what we need to do. So we as a tax consultant, we are not stopped just up to the moment of the discussion, which is just the first approach that we have with our client, but we also follow up to the end. In the description below the video you have our calendar link to book a consultation of 1 hour, and if you are serious about this project, serious about any project, you can book this 1 hour call, and if we agree that the project is feasible, the project makes sense for you, and you want to proceed with us, the cost of the 1 hour call will be subtract to the cost of the unlimited tax consulting follow-up. Okay? If you want to know more, stay tuned in Esentaxa, because we are going to discuss about this service more and more. We're going to tell you exactly why we came up with this idea, and this is why this is the best way to help our client in the end. And of course, if you want to help us grow as a channel, notification bell, like button, and subscribe the channel to be always updated whenever we release for free any kind of tax information in Europe. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.